Hello drama lovers. Welcome back to this channel. There are voices that go unheard. Stories that are never spoken, yet deeply felt. That's how this tale begins, slowly creeping into the hearts of those who have been watching closely. A story about a top actor, Shu Kai, and a decision that left the public bewildered. Not because of scandal. Not because of any wrongdoing. But because he chose a path that made no sense to those only looking at the surface. That night, Shu Kai walked alone down the red carpet of a major award show. Flashbulbs popped, cameras followed his every move, but he looked like he wasn't really there. His eyes were empty, his smile half-hearted. Unlike his usual self. A few steps away, another figure stood quietly, Tan Songyun. The air around them felt like static. No words were exchanged, no greetings passed between them. Yet the world could feel it, something once existed between them, and it hadn't faded. It lasted only seconds. But it was enough for thousands to start asking questions. What really happened? Why did Shu Kai seem like someone carrying an invisible burden? And why, just when he should have been at the peak of his career, did he begin rejecting major projects or walking away from million-dollar deals? Those questions take us back to the beginning. To the days when Shu Kai and Tan Songyun were paired in one of the most beloved dramas of its time. Their on-screen chemistry was undeniable. Every glance, every movement, felt real. And that's where everything began to change. It started off as just another professional collaboration. But subtle things began to surface. A staff member from the drama anonymously revealed that Shu Kai often waited late into the night just to go home with Tan Songyun. There were stories about him bringing her warm meals to the set, quietly ensuring she was well-fed and comfortable. None of it was ever confirmed. But people began to understand. This wasn't just professionalism. There was affection, care, and slowly, a sense of sacrifice that no one could quite explain. But behind that warmth, reality lurked cold and sharp. They belonged to different agencies, had different career trajectories. And when rumors about their closeness started to spread, the pressure came hard and fast, from fans, from management, from advertisers and media outlets. What shocked many was that Shu Kai didn't stay silent. He began making choices that didn't align with his growing status as a top-tier actor. He declined lead roles in high-budget dramas if he knew the female lead had a history of feuding with Tan Songyun. He walked away from lucrative brand endorsements when Tan Songyun was quietly dropped from the same campaigns under industry pressure. And the most unbelievable move? Shu Kai reportedly requested a contract review with one of his major agencies because he didn't want Tan Songyun's name used as a bargaining chip between companies. Every decision begged the same question. For what? For whom? When fans started connecting the dots, public opinion split. Some said Shu Kai was reckless. Others accused him of attention-seeking. But many were quietly moved. Because his sacrifices weren't trivial. He was walking away from tens of millions in deals, for someone who wasn't even publicly acknowledged in his career. Amid the growing chatter, Tan Songyun remained silent. Calm. Focused. But in one interview, when asked if she ever worked with a male lead who was too caring, she paused for a long time. Her eyes watered. Then she softly replied, "Sometimes, I want to say, please don't be too kind to me. But I also don't want him to stop." That single line was a grenade. Fans instantly knew who she meant. And what had once been speculation suddenly felt like truth. But like all love stories that exist in shadows, there was a price to pay. Shu Kai began losing major opportunities. Producers saw him as unstable. Brands viewed him as difficult. But he stayed quiet. Never explained. Never defended himself. Then came the breaking point. Shu Kai officially walked away from an exclusive drama contract, one of the most anticipated productions in years, because the studio refused to cast Tan Songyun as the female lead. Many called him foolish. But under that decision, the public began to see something more than ego. It was someone choosing to lose everything, just so another could stand in peace. And perhaps the most heartbreaking moment came when he was asked at a public event if he regretted turning down so many golden opportunities. Shu Kai only smiled and said, "Some things don't make sense to the mind. But the heart always knows where it belongs." That line hit hard. Suddenly, the media began telling a different story about Shu Kai. No longer the golden boy of the industry, but a man who, perhaps, had quietly loved someone in the most painful and silent way. Fans flooded social media with hashtags like #ProtectShuKai and #TanSongyun. Many begged to see them together in a new project. Some believed they were still in touch, just hidden away, protecting each other from a world that wouldn't understand. One fan wrote, "He never said he loved her, but look at what he gave up." This isn't about fame. It's about someone who would lose everything for someone else's peace. I hope she knows someone out there is quietly loving her from behind the curtain. They were never a PR couple. Never a public duo sharing selfies or sweet captions. But perhaps that's what made them feel more real. Today, Shu Kai seems to have withdrawn from the glamorous spotlight. He's taking on smaller roles. Independent films. Scripts with quiet stories that touch the soul rather than dominate ratings. When asked why, he simply said, "I want to choose stories that feel honest." Many believe it's his way of staying close to someone he can no longer openly reach. Tan Songyun, though still tight-lipped, has quietly kept sending small signals. Wearing clothes with a large K stitched across the chest. Choosing songs with lyrics about waiting in silence. In her latest interview, when asked if she ever lost someone because of circumstances, she smiled and said, "Sometimes we don't lose them. We just can't hold them in front of the world." That line broke hearts. Hello, drama lovers. This story may never be confirmed. We may never hear it from their own lips. But sometimes, truth doesn't need confession. Sometimes, love doesn't need an announcement. Shu Kai has likely chosen his path. A lonely road, hard to explain. But one thing is certain, he knows exactly who he wants to protect. And Tan Songyun, in her quiet strength, likely knows that someone out there is willing to fall, just so she can keep standing. What do you think? Did Shu Kai really throw away his career for Tan Songyun? Or are we just reading too deeply into the silence between them? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to stay tuned for more updates on this story that remains unfinished. Because sometimes, the stories we never hear aloud are the ones that speak the loudest. See you in the next episode, only on this channel.